Alright, so I want to make a video here on a guide for Strand Hunter loadout. Specifically the way I play it, right? Because I see a lot of people use Strand Hunter, but they use the same exact but they're only using it with Archer's Gambit and stuff like that. So they're not actually using the loadout itself. I'm not saying Archer's Gambit is bad. I think Archer's Gambit is the strongest perk for primers in the entire game. And if you want to maximize using Archer's Gambit, I think the best subclass that you want to go for on Hunter is Stasis, because you can do the Shadow Dive, right? So if you want to peek shoot someone with the Archer's Gambit, it's better for you to have a movement ability in the air. This is more of a combo loadout, not a dueling loadout, so a lot of your kills will come out of your abilities. Not that you will always get the kill out of the abilities, right? You have your weapons, you can still play normally, but the build itself is surrounded by maximizing, getting kills with your ability, creating orbs, healing from that orbs, and stuff like that. While if you're using something like an Archer's Gambit, it's more of a dueling type of playstyle, so if you really want to maximize Archer's Gambit playstyle, you go on Warlock, you play Dawnblade. Instead of healing through your abilities with kills, you have healing from Healing Grenade, Phoenix Dive, Healing Rift, and stuff like that. And you also have Icarus Dash, a very good movement ability, allowing you to reposition very well with Archer's Gambit. Now with that out of the way, and why I don't use Archer's Gambit, because I know a lot of people will ask me that, let me just explain to you how I use this build, especially in the montages and stuff like that. This build is actually not that bad. It's not just a montage build where it's just hard to use and stuff like that. It's actually like low-key genuinely a good build. I mean, it's either that or it's because I've been using this build for a long time. I don't know which one, honestly. But the main combo that you're going to be seeing with this loadout is going to be like a bow body shot into a grapple melee. The easiest way for you to do this is hitting them like right in the body and then grapple melee forward while pressing W. This will allow you to like activate your grapple melee like instantly. So if there's a guy right in front of me and I shoot them with the bow, I can follow it up with a quick grapple melee. It's like a 0.2 seconds delay. You can't do it instantly. You kind of have to wait a little bit. If you do it instantly, it doesn't really work. You see like that? But if I wait for like 0.1 second later, I can do the grapple melee. So yeah, that's basically the main combo that you want to do. You hit them and then you grapple melee. This will spawn an orb with the heavy-handed, because the grapple melee does count as a charge melee ability. This will allow you to get healing from recuperation. This is an instant 70 health pop. You don't want to use better already, because the way you use this loadout is very aggressive. You're always in the gunfight. So when enemies are shooting at you, you're going to stop regenerating right off the bat. So this is like low-key useless. However, if you are using like a dueling loadout that plays range, you can play behind cover a lot more often than this one. Innervation is a lot better than recuperation. But for this type of playstyle, recuperation is a lot better. And it says here that multiple copies of this mod can be stacked. However, that's not the case. You cannot stack this mod. You will only heal for 70 health every single time. Not that you want more than one of these, because these two are very important. Well, maybe not the solar holster, but this is just a good quality of life mod. This will also proc, again, solar weapon surge. And what this does is, whenever you do the combo, grapple melee into a kill, grapple melee can deal an AoE damage. That deals around 70 damage to surrounding targets, and if anybody is hit by the AoE, you can one-shot them with your Glaive. Granted that you pick up the orb to proc solar weapon surge, or there's an alternative that you can do with this type of combo, is that whenever you get the kill, you follow it up with the Ensnaring Slam right away. And whenever you Ensnaring Slam, it actually deals a little bit of damage, so that's basically how you one-shot with the Glaive. This will also spawn an orb from Reaper, and it will automatically pick up the orb that you create from your melee if you didn't already from Powerful Attraction. So that's already like 2 orbs from a single kill. But if you have the Thread of Wisdom fragment, defeating suspended target creates an orb of power, you will get another orb, so you heal another 70 HP. So that's already like 210 HP that you heal out of killing 2 people. And then whenever you pick up an orb, you also have Thread of Warding. Picking up an Orb of Power grants Woven Mail. This is a 5 seconds buff that is a 30% damage resist if they hit you in the body. It doesn't work for headshots. However, what you can do is that you can shield your Glaive. This will block your head and it will stack with Woven Mail as well. Anyways, once you do the combo, you normally get 2 kills, and you will also spawn a Tangle. Now, there's a lot of things that you can do with Tangle. Specifically, the main combo that you want to do is pair it with a collective action bow. And basically, what you can do is you can pick up the Tangle, you throw it, and then you headshot someone, and this will one-shot them, even if the Tangle is not directly hit. You can do this without collective action but it is very inconsistent because tangles deal around 80 to 100 damage on average, depending on the blast radius, right? Depending on where the enemy is. But with collective action, it will make it much more consistent. Another thing they can do with collective action is that after you throw a tangle, it allows you to headshot into a threaded spike. This will kill up to tier 8 Resilience Guardian, and I think that's the entire main combo that you can do. Obviously, you can do other combos depending on your teammates, depending on what gun they're using, depending on the situation. Like for example, there's a tech that you can do where you can instant slam to the ground very fast, and in order to do this, all you need to do is whenever you grapple melee to the wall, you don't want to press your WASD, or you want to grapple melee the wall and instantly instant slam without pressing any movement. So that's a tech that I never use in my videos. Now, it's not that it's not good, it's just very situational, that to the point where it's not worth doing, right? You're spending a grenade ability and a class ability just to suspend someone. Now, the reason why I don't use this combo is because it requires you to spend 2 abilities, which is your grapple and your class ability, right? And when you're doing this, 90% of the time, you can probably just grapple melee them anyways. However, if that someone happens to be using a shotgun, happens to be using a fusion rifle, and you want to dodge that, right? It is very situational. You can look up in the air, grapple melee towards the wall, and then do the slam that way. This way, it will disorient them, allowing them to miss their shot. Alright, I think that's it for the combos, and now I'm going to explain to you how to actually use the loadout effectively, right? With other loadouts in Destiny 2, it is very simple. Normally, people would just use any gun that they like, right? A hand cannon, a pulse rifle, and generally, these type of weapons are good by themselves. They have a 0.67 TTK, 0.8 TTK, and something like a hand cannon, for example, it's very similar to bows, where you can peek shoot with them. But unlike bows, they actually have a reasonable TTK, where even if you were caught out in the open, you still have a reasonable TTK to kill someone by the weapon itself. Bows doesn't have that kind of luxury unless you're using something like an Archer's Gambit bow, which is still a bit slower, where if you're caught out in the open, you're most likely dead. So yeah, basically positioning is very important, and the way you play with the bow, you have to mostly peek shoot, right? The 2 upsides that you get for using a bow compared to other primary weapons in the game, there's actually 2. It's not the infinite range. The infinite range sucks because you don't have infinite aim assist fall off. I see a lot of people argue that bows are good because they have infinite range and you can basically deal 100 damage from 200 meters away. Yeah, that's cool and all, but you're not getting the kill. You're dealing 100 damage to someone in their spawn and they're gonna hide, and that's useless, right? You can do the same thing with a scout rifle, but the difference is you actually get the kill because scout rifles have a 0.67 TTK, especially hung jury with box breathing, right? The 2 upside that you have for using a bow is the hipfire accuracy is very good, especially with freehand grip, especially with Radiant Dance Machine now, right? That's the one upside, allowing you to get close to people and not being forced to ADS your gun to make it accurate, right? So the hipfire is very good. 2 is the in-air accuracy. Bows have very good in-air accuracy. The drawback for a bow is you have to, draw the bow and reload the bow every single time you shoot it. It's just a different type of playstyle that you can't really convert to any other weapon in the game. So yeah, that's the one thing that you need to keep in mind. Positioning is very important when using a bow, and knowing the upsides of using a bow. So if you're using a bow just 200 meters away, just use the scout rifle, just use the pulse rifle. It's going to benefit you even better. You want to be very mobile using a bow. You want to be moving every single time. You don't want to peek from the same lane every single time. It's going to make it very easy for you to get sniped. So for example, if there's a sniper on the enemy team right here, you don't want to just peek like this. I see a lot of people do this and they will get sniped very easily. If you know that someone is sniping, you either want to slide peek someone like this, or you want to jump peek them, and then use strafe glide to go back to cover like this. And so yeah, let's move on to the next thing that I want to explain with this loadout is that why am I using a glaive? So a lot of the things in this loadout that you guys might have noticed is that everything that I do is a 2-shot combo. So bow into a grapple melee into a 1-shot glaive, which is technically a 2-shot because you're hitting them with the grapple melee AoE, or you instant slam into a glaive shot, and then you pick up the tangle, you throw the tangle, and then you hit them in the head. Still a 2-shot combo. Now, a lot of people might think that the glaive is for blinting with the weapon. Although it is something that you can do, it is not something that I like doing, because blinting doesn't really give you health. It doesn't really enable multi-kills, right? If you're blinting from the bow to the glaive, it doesn't give you a tangle, it doesn't spawn an orb, it doesn't heal you, it only gives you back your grenade from Demolitionist. So yes, you can do this in a 1v1 where nobody else is nearby. However, if there are a couple people, which is what this loadout is for, going for 2-3 kills, multi-kills, do not do blinting. Do not just like do things that doesn't give you anything in return. The main reason why Glaives is good in this loadout is because the amount of 2-shot capabilities that you do allows the Glaive to practically just one-shot anyways, to the point where the ammo economy is more efficient on a Glaive. Not to mention that the range on a Glaive is really good, so if I actually start with a grapple melee like here, and then someone is like sent out that way in the air, for example, if they double jump with a Titan or something like that, I can follow it up with a Glaive shot and they would die still. Now, although this combo does not spawn an orb, it does spawn a tangle, which you can use for later combats. With this loadout, what you have to keep in mind is that what am I going to do for the next person after I get the initial kill, right? It's not a dueling loadout where you isolate gunfights. It's a loadout that wants to be in a 1v3 and a 1v2. Lastly, what I want to talk about with this loadout is resources. It's very important for you to keep in mind of what you have, how much glaive ammo that you have, your grapple charges. They recently fixed so that whenever you die, you actually keep the second charge, so that's very good. So yeah, basically you want to keep an eye on your abilities, whether you have your instant slam, your grapples, your threaded spike. The most important resource that you want to keep in mind is the health. It is very important to evaluate your health and see if engagements are winnable with like half HP or not. If you know you headshot someone with the bow and you're also 1 HP, you most likely can win the ego peak, right? Because you're using a bow. Worst case scenario, you're going to trade with the other person, right? If they're using a hand cannon, most likely you're going to trade because they have a hit scan, and you kind of have to peek a lot more than a normal hit scan weapon, which is something that I haven't discussed actually. So let's just do that real quick. Bows are also projectiles, unlike other weapons. So if I want to peek shoot this lane, I will hit this whatever, right? It will hit the wall, right? Other weapons don't normally have this issue. That's why with a bow, you kind of want to swing every single time you peek. You can't really peek shoot like from the ground, right? You can't really do this because again, sometimes you get punished by hitting the wall instead. Yes, it is a peek shooting weapon, but you need to peek way more compared to any other weapon. Now, going back to resources, you know, abilities, your special ammo, your health, these are the things that you always keep in mind, which is why whenever you're in combat, you don't want to spend more abilities than you need in order to get one kill, because you want to use the rest of your abilities to follow it up with the second and third kill. And for me specifically, I don't really need to double evaluate my resources. Whenever I get a quick glance of my HUD, here at the bottom left at my health, I instantly know what I'm capable of and what I'm incapable of. So I will engage in fights that I think I could win, and I disengage in fights that I can't win. Sometimes I would just go into a fight knowing that I'm in a disadvantage. Well, you're kind of always in a disadvantage when you're diving in this game, but more often than not, I will always go into a fight knowing that I will lose like 60-70% of the time, but in that 40% chance, I can get a cool clip for my YouTube. Right? So these are the things that you just need to gamble sometimes, but it's not always RNG, because it is very important for you to know what people are using in this game. Shotguns are by far the most used special weapon in PvP. They are the strongest weapon in the game, you know, theoretically the strongest, not because they're the most potent, but it is because they are the most versatile and efficient at what they're doing. Shotguns is in 90% of people's loadout, so whenever you're diving at people, expect them to have shotguns. And if you're playing something like Trials, where the most dominant weapons are shotguns, fusions, and snipers, you kind of want to keep an eye on when they're going to use it. And if you're diving someone with a shotgun, you want to make sure that you're diving in a way where it's not easy for them to get the kill on you, right? As I mentioned earlier, you can do the little dive tech right here instead of like grapple meleeing them right in the face, allowing you to die to the shotgun instantly. And that should wrap this video up. I think that's all I want to talk about in this video. I know this is not like every single detail about the loadout itself. Like for example, I don't explain to you guys the mods and stuff like that, mainly because they're pretty self-explanatory. Anyways, that's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and if you do, I might make another video like this for the Warlock version, Solar Warlock. In that loadout, it's going to focus more on dueling with the bow instead of comboing. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time.